Early Break with Sip and Jake.
I noticed in the article it's spelled D-A-W-G.
Yeah, that's
Now hold on.
That's standard.
Again,
Jake.
journalism.
A dog is a D-A-W-G in
Yeah.
terms of an athlete.
Yeah.
Or someone thinks they're badass,
Yeah.
Dog,
There's no way
D-A-W-G.
in 1985 that was the case. Now, this is a recent phenomenon, right?
That's not that new. This is
That's not new.
This is since 2000 probably.
D-A-W-G?
Yeah. Where have you been?
Early Break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is area race announcer James Rowland. Join me and Bree Fansteel every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket for The Finish Line, where we cover all things motorsports from local racing to racing around the world. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog? A cat? Or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Veterans, do you know what local, state, and federal benefits and services you're eligible to receive? Do you want help navigating the application or appeals process? Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. You've served our country, now let us serve you. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into Bigger Than the Score. My name is Harrison Arns. Welcome in. Take the headsets off here, as I don't know if you guys are having a little bit of feedback audio on the headset, but nonetheless, we'll get it working here. 402-464-5685. You guys want to join in? This is Bigger Than the Score. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. Like I said, we got a full room of guests in here today. We got Phil in the corner. We got Gerald back in here and Gabe as well. Terrell.
Jarrell.
Okay.
I'll be all of those if you want, though.
Well, like I said, you guys are welcome to join in. Facebook, YouTube, Allo, Channel 961, Twitch, Twitter, X, Allo, all of those, welcome to join in. But, guys, how's it going this morning?
Things are going well. How's everybody doing? All right?
Good, real good.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I want to start over there in the corner. Phil, I know it's not your first time on here. Same thing with Jarrell, but just in case people are new, I'll have you guys reintroduce yourselves.
Yeah, my name is Phil Maynard, and I work here for Lincoln Public Schools in town. This is my 24th year with Lincoln Public Schools that I'm starting. So I started my career as just a teacher, a fifth grade classroom teacher. I was a fourth grade teacher for many years, and this will be my 9th year as an instructional coach. So what I do primarily is I work with teachers and kind of help them. It's not so much as I give advice or tell them what to do. I kind of want to help people unpack their own thinking and kind of help them get better at the things that they want to get better at. So that's kind of what I've been doing now. But I'm really excited to be here today just because I haven't seen this guy to the right of me for years, and he's grown about a mile. But I'm also excited to meet Mr. Jarrell over here because I've heard so much about him. I know his sister, I know his nephew, and through Pete, I've heard wonderful things. So I'm really excited to be in the station today.
Absolutely. And we'll just keep kind of going around here. Gabe, how about you?
I'm doing good. I'm a student for LPS. I'm going to be a junior at Northeast High School. I'm involved in lots of other activities. But right now I'm in summer school just to, catch up on some things.
Yeah. Perfect.
Absolutely. Jarrell?
Yeah, man. It's good to be here this morning. I am a full-time Christian missionary. I work also at our church as a youth pastor. And then I don't want to say on the side, I guess all that collaboration is that's how I really met Pete, is as a motivational speaker and comedian and things of that nature. Been working with students for almost 30 years, man. I love it. And then been on the entertainment side for 20 plus years. And I love that. And then next year I get the honor of retiring from the military, man. I've been in since 2002. And I'm looking forward to being done. It's
Congratulations.
Really, that's half my life.
That's awesome.
So it's been good. It's been good, man. Other than that, I'm a dad, man. I love being a dad. It's full time, got some good benefits and perks to it, and love being a dad, man. So yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
that's awesome. And then Phil, you mentioned it's been a while since you saw Gabe. So what was kind of the beginning of that story?
Years ago, I started back at Brownell Elementary School. I was a fifth grade teacher there in 2012. I want to say is when I started there, but I moved over into the coaching position in 2016, and when you're a coach in elementary school, you wear a lot of hats. So I'd be in the cafeteria, I'd be at recess. You get to interact with kids a lot. one of my favorite parts was I was also one of the student council coordinators with Miss Sammy Marisek. We were just talking about her this morning, and we did a group. We put leaders and buffaloes together. And do you remember what we called this clever name we came up with, Gabe?
The Buff Leaders.
The Buffa Leaders. I mean, you put that together, it just works out well. And we got to do a lot of great things. We rang bells. We did a lot of cool activities. And this is where I really got to Gabe. And I think later in the show, we're going to talk about some of the experiences that Pete was able even to bring over to Brownell for Gabe when he was at. And I think you guys saw that picture that was sent around. So that'll be kind of fun to talk about a little bit later.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And, I got to ask, this isn't Pete's notes, so it's a fair question to ask, but why'd you guys come on the show today? What does this show mean to you guys? And why do you want to represent in the absence of Pete Ferguson?
Yeah, man. I'm a Pete fan, to be honest, man. That's my buddy. I'm a Pete fan, but he also asked me to stand in for him, ask him. But I just said, Pete, I got hair, so it won't work out. But I'm working on it. Yeah, a few inches shorter and got hair. But nonetheless, I'm a Pete fan. I love what he's doing on the radio, but I just love what he does in the community, man. Really, like he's a standout brother. He's a phenomenal example. And so, if I got a chance to come in and stand in for him, it's a plus, man. Yeah.
Absolutely. I always like to call it the Feel Good Hour for a reason. Pete Ferguson, for everything he does. We'll obviously get to hear more from Gabe as well. It's just a cool idea of bringing young people, great young people in our own community that we want to elevate. But Phil, I know it's not your first time on the show, but why are you back?
Again, I just to piggyback off of what Jarrell said, Pete's an outstanding guy. He's a great guy in the community, and if anything, he's a mentor that kind of shows you this is kind of the steps that I want to take. This is how I see my role and stuff. Every time I listen to this show in the morning, you leave with a smile on your face, even when you're at home, and just some of the things that you hear come out, and you're like, I hadn't even thought about it that way. So this is probably the best way to start your Sunday in Nebraska. I think 8 to 9, if you're near a radio or if you're near Allo and you can catch this is a great way to start the day.
And he was going to stand in as Pete too, but he has hair. And he's white. And it wasn't going to work out.
It's starting to. You ask the students at school, they don't say I have much hair on the back.
You got it.
They're like, that's why I'm tall. I can get away with some stuff.
I mean, just to double down on everything you guys are saying. Yeah, it is always cool. You get to elevate some of these young people right here in our own area. Especially it's great to kind of keep those guys around. So it's great to support them while they're here. And if they end up going elsewhere, we always want to root for them. But Gabe, with that being said, not to set the bar too high, we won't ask you to give all the wisdom, but just give a basic. What are you interested in right now? I know we talked summer school a little bit. So what's just kind of going on in your life that you'd like to share with everybody?
Let's see. So I'm involved in so many different activities throughout the school year. Same thing like marching band, student council, different honor bands, just stuff like that. So I'm very involved in our school community. With that being said, jazz band takes up a full 2 semesters. So I missed 2 classes I need to take. So health and oral comm are 2 classes sophomores are required to take to graduate. So I'm taking that in summer school. But I'm really thankful that I had the opportunity, to take this in summer school because this is giving me the chance to see people I haven't seen before, go to a school I've never been to before, at least classes wise. And just like I feel that I get to understand the topics a little more since like it's a shorter amount of time, but we go deeper into the topics of like oral comm or health and stuff like that. And it's really nice because the teachers there that I've had, they're amazing. My oral comm teacher, she's a teacher. My health teacher is a teacher at Northeast, so kind of knew her there. But my oral comm teacher is out at Northwest, just an awesome person, super nice, and like a go-to teacher.
Absolutely. You said you play jazz band?
Yes. For jazz band, I play many instruments, but for jazz band, I'm on the trumpet. And then for so like our wind ensemble with like all the different instruments and everything like that, I play French horn. And for marching band, I play the mellophone, which is like the marching version of a French horn. It's just like a really big fat trumpet.
I'm feeling a solo. I'm glad I brought a trumpet today.
No, not today.
Well, and to be aware enough that you're like, man, I want to be in jazz band, but I know I have this commitment that I need, and to have that flexibility where you're on top of it, I think that's great.
Yeah, that's impressive. I think the most I got, I played trombone growing up in high school. Was not good enough to be in jazz band. That was like a little bit extra, but it sounds like you can play multiple instruments. Are you self-taught? Is that something within the family? How do you push yourself?
I want to hear. I know your band intro here. I want to hear you talk about.
So I started at Brownell on so my aunt played trumpet at East. So I was thinking, okay, 5th grade we get to pick our instruments, we get to play the instruments. I go, I'll stick with trumpet, right? And I'm playing trumpet all throughout 5th grade, all of middle school. And I get to high school, and my old director, Eli Gillespie, I go, well, can I switch instruments for the JV ensemble? And he goes, no, I'm gonna have you play French horn for our varsity ensemble. I go, okay. So so I was taught trumpet, but I was never taught French horn because he said he'd teach me, and he was a very busy guy. So just him trying to get the time, and he was able to teach me some things, but those are the basics. So my freshman year, I'm trying to play an instrument I've never touched before. I get it. He's like, learn this. So the fingering, some of them are different. The pitches are different. So it's a whole new thing to learn. And for my music people out there, the trumpet is those partials are kind of easier to hit, but with the French horn, it's just up and down. Just you play one half partial above, you've ruined everything. Not ruined everything, but it's a very different sound. It's not the sound you're expecting.
So you played the trombone?
Yeah, just I played it up through, I want to say, freshman year. It would have been 6th grade through freshman or maybe even sophomore year.
Okay, Jarrell, did you play any instruments?
Baritone and trombone, and then I played drums in the military, the corps in the the band. In the military. Same beat, whole 8 weeks.
You're like, I got it down a bit.
boom, boom, boom.
I was in a band until about 8th grade, and I played the alto saxophone. But I was definitely the guy who would look at his neighbors to see where's his fingers at, so I can put my fingers in the same.
Do you guys
spot.
feel that? We should start a band.
I don't know if I trust you guys.
The difference is trombone. It's pretty easy to figure out where you need to be. But clearly, we all we were all instruments. We never quite reached the level. It sounds like Gabe right here. So, Gabe, what was it about you that made you stick with it? Was it a natural talent, or was it just family, or how did you find yourself in such a role to where music is just a big part of you right now?
So, family did play a big part in this, but just having something I know I can go back to. I know something when I wake up, I'll know what to do in the morning, right? If I have nothing to do that day, I can take out my trumpet, start playing a few notes, or my horn or something like that. So it's really nice. And especially going in high school, marching band was that's before school starts and everything. Go to rehearsals. It's a very different style, obviously, of music, but you go from 8th grade music and now you're learning music that's supposed to be challenging for everyone. And of course there's different parts for different reasons, but that was a struggle. And I remember coming home to my mom almost every day at lunch saying, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. And she's like, no, just give it to the end of the week. You're going to like it. You've talked about it so much through 8th grade. You're going to like this. And then I remember we are on the field one day and we're supposed to be marching and playing the fight song just with your section. And you're supposed to get judged as a section. I remember I'm marching, but no sounds coming out of my trumpet. And then I think this was the 3rd or 4th day. I come home and I'm just so upset. I go, this is it. I can't take it. I don't want to go back. Tell them I don't have to go back and every stuff like that. And my mom goes, no. And my mom's pushed me my whole life to keep on going, whether I like it or not. And I'm extremely thankful for that because it's a great mindset to have. It's a great way just to keep you going. But golly, if I quit that day, I couldn't tell you where I'd be right now. Music has opened so many different opportunities into my life, and it's given me so many different chances to express myself. I'm just so very thankful for that.
Yeah, come on,
love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's important too, and you have to find something you're passionate in. It's awesome that you figured that out already, because I feel like I see even adults sometimes still trying to find that thing that gets them inspired. So what is long term or even just short window? What do you really want to do with this music? Is this something you want to do for professionally, just something always as a hobby on the side, something that you enjoy, just to kind of give yourself that own free headspace?
Yeah.
What is this for you?
Okay, so I believe I have my mindset. So after high school, I'd like to go to college, become a music educator. The goal is to join the Cornerstone Marching Band, go through all of that. Just since we had 3 seniors my freshman year graduate from Northeast who joined the Cornerstone Marching Band, and seeing all the fun that they have has really even opened up to me. That's something I want to be a part of, even if it's not UNL, K-State, UCLA, just somewhere that they have a marching band, and especially a good music program, because if you want to be a music teacher, you got to have that stuff down, and that's just a really big goal of mine.
I'm really glad you're touching base on the commitment it takes for band and stuff, because I think it's so powerful. And then you see these UNL alumni bands that are even getting together 25, 30 years, even further down the road, and it's such a passionate group, and you can tell that that's a real a collaborative community that they have together. But touch base a little bit. I wasn't in band in high school, but I remember we would have 2-a-days in high school, and we'd get there, and I'd be like, "Man, this is early," and the band kids were already there. They were already doing their thing. It's like, okay, we're not working quite as hard as they're working. So, talk a little bit about what that whole process, how you get ready for the year for band.
So, in the summer, we will have like drumline, front ensemble, which is like the marimbas and stuff like that, and color guard. And they go in earlier because they have harder stuff to learn, and they'll work with their coaches and stuff like that. And then throughout the year or throughout the rest of the summer, wind players, we come through, we work with our directors and everything like that. But about 2 weeks or so before school starts, percussion and color guard, they have a whole week-long camp where they they really dive in deep. And this is a required camp because you got to learn the stuff there. And then about the next week is band camp. Those days are long, so very long. But we get there around, if you're on leadership, which I was lucky to be a part of leadership last year and this year, but you get there around 7:30 in the morning. And it's getting you ready for school, but it's also you're out there for the hot day for the rest of the day. And of course, we have our breaks and stuff like that, but you go until my freshman and sophomore year, we went to about 8 o'clock some nights, 8 or 9. And as leadership, sometimes you don't leave until 10.
Yeah.
So
man.
yeah, that's the summer commitment. But during the school year, my freshman and sophomore year, and my upcoming junior year, we are going to be at school at 7 a.m. every morning. And then we have that is our 0 period. And then our first period is also band. So that gives us 2 hours to work with that.
Ooh.
And then
Love the norm that this leadership is setting here, right?
Yeah. Wednesdays we have rehearsals after school. And my freshman and sophomore year. And Tuesdays we would have sectionals with your sectional, you hash out different parts and stuff like that. And this year we realized we have lots of extra rehearsals we don't necessarily need. So we decided to cut out the Tuesdays. And so I think from 5 to 5:45, we have sectionals. And then from 6 to 8:30 or something like that, we're on the field for this night. So like it's cutting down on that time that, we don't always have to be here, but enough time to make sure that we're still going to do good at state and stuff like that.
And you have time for regular classes in there somewhere.
I think so. I think so.
LPS, pay these kids, pay these kids.
I was so lucky that my second period teacher this year was my German teacher, great guy. But I go, I'm just gonna let you know, I'm a drum major this year, and band directors, they don't always let us out on time. So there's days that I'm going to be late, and he goes, that's all right. But class, we're out at 8:50. I'm in the school by 9. And some days, because we have to take down the field and everything. We have to set up the podiums, open up the garage, put the podiums back in.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's something I'm very thankful for, since it definitely teaches you discipline. It teaches you have to be there. It's not just you thing. Like there's days where we have 3 people gone, and it is very noticeable on the field. Like you see what the drill or the what it's supposed to look like on the field, and you have 3 holes there. And of course, from a bird's eye view on the podium, you see that stuff. But even while marching, like you'll have your viewpoints. So like let's say that person over there, you watch them for 13 counts, and then you know when to move. But they're gone. So what do you do now? Like it's keeping yourself accountable and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what is the toughest part, for you right now? Is it an instrument, or is it the marching in itself? Because the most I did was the parades down the local town, and it was very easy, just straight down the road, maybe for less than a mile. But I've seen some of those, the formations or those longer marching bands. It looks tiring. And I wasn't even holding the drums. I wasn't even holding the heavy stuff, just the trombone. So what's that like?
I'd say there's obviously challenging. My freshman year, the hardest part is, I'm going to say, that's a tough question, Harrison. It's too early for this. It was definitely, I'd say, marching. You're coming into a new environment. You got to learn all these different moves and stuff like that. Going into my sophomore year, becoming a drum major was definitely finding a good time balance, because there's days I get to school at 6:30 and I'm not leaving school until 10 o'clock, right? So like when I'm getting my homework done, when am I gonna go home and eat dinner, when I'm gonna all that stuff. And I think just this junior year, I think at what's going to be the most challenging that we can hopefully work through is relationships. Lots of things happen between just freshman and junior year, stuff like that, we've had director changes at Northeast. So all of our directors that we had my freshman year and my sophomore year are now gone. So it's now welcoming a new directing staff. And we're so lucky that our substitute has as our assistant director. So I'm very thankful for them. But, you know, it's just like making sure that we can work as a group and not as a singular person.
Absolutely. And before we go to break here, I want to ask you this, how to kind of wrap up this segment. Obviously, you're pretty passionate about music. You've talked about the commitment. It's a lot. So if someone is serious about this and, you know, maybe that's an aspiration to go for UNL's marching band or somewhere else, you know, what's a piece of advice you'd give them if this is the avenue they want to start heading towards?
Always do it. Always try. Even if they say no, always do it. You know, there's been times where I'm thinking, should I audition for this? Should I go out for this? Should I do this? And I'm thinking, no, I'm not good enough. You are not the person to tell you you're not good enough, you know, and you may not be good enough, but that's in the moment. So if you want to be better next year, you need to work for it. You need to be committed. You need to have the self-discipline. I mean, it's got to be there. You have to want to do it, but you have to want to do it for the right reason too.
Absolutely. That's wise words right there. And that is from Gabe. We'll keep it rolling here on Bigger Than the Score. Once again, we don't got Pete Ferguson. We got Jarrell and Phil Maynard. And of course, our guest Gabe in here today. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling here on Ticket Sundays.
Want to contribute to medical advancements and get paid for your time? Join the clinical trial at Velocity Clinical Research. Participants can receive compensation, access medicines in development, and get study-related care at no cost. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. Help shape the future of medicine. Visit velocitytrials.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Rockstar. Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scotts Bluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
This is Bree Fansteel, local race car driver. Join me and James Rowland every Sunday at 7 p.m. for The Finish Line, where we discuss off-road, on-road, and sometimes next-to-the-road racing on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Have a passion for the outdoors? Nebraska Game and Parks is seeking seasonal teammates. Work in scenic state parks, contribute to vital research projects, and care for our natural spaces. Seasonal staff assist with special events, provide customer service to outdoor enthusiasts, and make a difference for conservation. Join the adventure at outdoornebraska.gov. Apply online today.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in at Two Bigger Than the Score. Once again, Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. If you guys want to join in, feel free to do so all Sunday long. That's 402-464-5685. Great way to put a face to the voice. You can also use the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. On the first segment, we got a deep dive on Gabe's kind of music life. So I kind of want to talk a little more on that. You know, what is kind of your background? You know, we talked a little bit about your family, but obviously hardworking. You know, where did those values really get instilled in you? You know, just a little more on your family values.
And a twin. So I know that did toll on my mom having twins. But in a good way. You know, we were always taught to like treat everyone with respect, no matter what they look like, where they come from. Like respect is top always. We also grew up with around our grandma and our aunt and our cousin. So, you know, having the family around us was always nice. But you know, growing up, it was just the three of us, you know, my mom, my sister, and myself. And you know, it's very nice because you know we're a close family. It's like the type of family we can talk to each other about anything. And you know, that's always nice because you know, if you need someone to talk to, your family's always there. And I hope that we all have at least one person that we can, talk to with stuff about that.
Why is that important? Awesome. That we all need somebody to kind of open up to like that.
Don't keep your emotions bottled up. That's a great way to, I don't say ruin your mental health, but put it in a not so good spot. You just opening up to someone you trust can just, even if they don't have a solution for your problems or an answer that you want to hear or something that they can even say, it's nice to know that someone's listening to you.
Come on, boy,
and that that you're listening.
Come on.
But you have that having that built-in support system, and I would agree. I know your mom and I know your sister.
Yeah.
I know how strong and collaborative a group you are, and you guys, it's amazing.
It is.
The
It really
power
is.
that you guys have.
Absolutely. And Jarrell, why is that so important? I heard you telling him to kind of double down on it. Why was that speaking so much to you?
Yeah, man, I've had the honor of working with such a variety of people, from group homes to psych wards to very gifted individuals to prison systems to the military to individuals with additional needs. And you need community. You need somebody you can both pour out to and be poured in by. You really need it. I've worked in foreign countries, and it's the same for everybody, and you really need it. And I've seen the opposite when a person does not have that or they choose not to, or they can't find it, what it can do to that person internally and as a result, how it can impact the people around them, Seen that a lot, even through our prison systems, man. And really these men and women who were somebody's children just really needed some people, man, in their lives, dude. Like straight up, it's a big deal. So what he's saying now, if you can continue to carry those virtues into every aspect of your life, including your adult life, you'll find a much healthier version of yourself.
Absolutely.
Really
And Phil, I'm going to ask you the same
and well,
question.
I think of it as the classroom teacher, and anytime I can talk to a teacher, you're trying to create a community within your classroom. You want a safe place for every kid to come. You don't know what they've come. You don't know what their mornings look like, but if they can come in and they're like, you have a smile, they know that they can take that weight off of their shoulders, and this is their place, their safe place. You create that positive learning environment where they can take risks. They can do those things that they might not always feel that they can do. So I love community talk. Like this makes I tell you, Sunday mornings are great here.
And that what he just said there, and what these that's the reason that's what inspired me to be a teacher initially, is because I was a pretty busy kid, and I had teachers, educators that just loved the heck out of me. I could tell they were being patient with me. I could tell, I could see, I'm like, but you get to do this every day. And I was like, that's what I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to give back to somebody, man. And so that's true. Creating that community inside of that classroom.
That's awesome.
That's
And
right.
yeah, you're definitely right. Because I think just about everyone I run into has that one teacher, one coach, maybe multiple teachers that they can all refer to. I always say, Mrs. Hamilton, shout out. I don't know if she listens to the Lincoln Radio, but if she ever does, she deserves that shout out. Gabe, for a teacher or even a coach, your band director, for someone to be in that position and to have that full trust with the student, what are some of the things that teachers you give advice for, ways to make it more of that community atmosphere?
I'm gonna say, for teachers, always listen to students. Obviously within reason, but listen to what your students are telling you. They know what they need. We know how to work, what works best for us in the classroom. I know it's little things like the teacher's asking, you want the lights on or off? And having the lights off might help half the class study better, or might help half the class, just be able to push through the rest of the day. And or teachers who are okay, I realize that it's been a rough week. Let's just take a break today. I remember there was 1 week this school year, I had so many things going on. I had a student council event on Monday, and then Tuesday I have a concert for jazz band at Playmore. Wednesday, our varsity ensemble, we went out of town to Kansas City for not a competition, but a conference. And then Thursday, another performance. And then Friday, I had a concert again. So this is just a busy week. And so, I think the teachers towards the end of my week, they saw the burnout within a lot of us. And we're just very thankful because they took the time to ask us how we're doing. And lots of us told them, hey, this is gonna be a rough week. But they took the time to maybe a homework assignment wasn't due that day. Maybe it was due in 2 weeks, or just giving us a chance to put our heads down and just relax for the time we had in that class.
That's something I hear on Bigger Than the Score a lot, though. I feel like students, oftentimes the guests are on here is we need students. Listen to kids. They're trying to tell you what they need. And maybe that's something we don't really do enough, but it also tells you that you have trust. You want that
Yeah.
relationship with your teacher.
that's
You feel
good.
comfortable
Yeah.
enough to
Ooh.
share that with them. So
Ooh.
it says huge things on the relationship I think you have with that teacher, but it also tells us as adults, we often think we know what these kids
Everything.
want.
Yeah.
And we know we went through it, we
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but I think you really nailed it on the head there.
That's a good
Thank
word.
Yeah, and Phil, I'll ask you. You know, what are some of the things that you've kind of learned through your experiences? What are some of the tips, ways that teachers listening out there? How do you bring that
and I
environment?
think there's no right way to build a relationship. Everybody's like, oh, is there a professional learning class on how to build relationships? It's like, no, you put yourself out there. You have to be vulnerable yourself.
That's a
I think
good word.
you share your own thinking a little bit, but also I think my thing was it all came back to when I was a teacher. It was you choose your attitude on a daily basis. I can wake up, I can come in the morning, I can be like tired. I could have had that night. Something could have happened. Dog could have had an accident in the house. I don't know. But I choose how I walk in that door, and my attitude is going to completely affect everybody else's in that classroom as well as the educator. So I always remember, Phil, they don't know what your day is. You come in with a smile, that's going to help them get there as well. But I think that relationship is a big part. Yeah. I love it, Gabe. It's so good to see you
It's
today,
good seeing
man.
you too. It's been too long.
I want to be in his class. Can I go back to school so I can be in his? No.
We had a lot of fun in Mr. Maynard's room back in the day.
Yeah, that's important to remember. I know it's a different show, but Brewington, Chancellor Brewington, he's on 8:00 on Ticket Weeknights. He talks about that all the time. Just a lot of, it's just how are you going to read your day? You predict a lot of your own outcome. Like you said, you can have a lot of reasons to make it a bad day. It's only going to get worse though if you choose it's going to be a bad day at that moment. But if you can try to turn it around, have that smile, you can kind of manifest yourself a better day. Jarrell, I want to ask you about that as well. Maybe not in the classroom, maybe in the classroom, but in some of your experiences, how do you bring that community environment?
Yeah, I think because I have a big background of experience, man, I gotta remind myself to set myself in people's shoes. So on a regular week, I could be in an intensive group home. I can be in a jail. I can be at a base. I can be in a classroom that I just really enjoy being in because there's not a lot of negative attitudes there. I could be at an alternative school. I could be in my own home, and I can be in a lot of those in a day. And I just got to remember, how do I put myself in those people's shoes? Because I am responsible for some of their outcomes. And I got to remember that. I got to own that part. I am responsible for how they feel in some regard. I am responsible for how they think. I am responsible for their rationale and their reasoning. Not all of it, but for some. And I learned that on the side of like when people are in crisis and they call you and they say, man, you've always been this kind of person to me. And you got to own that. You got to remember you are becoming that for somebody. So I would say for me, when I think of what community looks like, it really involves two people, at minimum. And I take responsibility for how that person feels things. I can't take it all, but that's really where I live.
But Jarrell, you're absolutely right. I think that empathy is so important because you're putting yourself in those shoes. And if you don't try to understand how somebody else is feeling, how are you going to help them? How can you understand where they're coming from?
Dude, straight up.
I know a big thing back at Brownell, like, I forgot what the lesson was called, but it was like a specific lesson. And it was talking about like how to treat other people, but like always empathy was the biggest thing. And it's like, we take that to middle school too. And like they're always teaching like empathy. It's a great thing to learn and to be able to have, it's up there with respect.
Yeah. I work with a crew back home. It's my missions crew. And we've developed this saying, a culture of invitation. Like we invite, we re-invite, and then we accept the invitation to go into people's world. Like we kind of constantly want it to be a two-way street. And then on the other side of that culture of invitation, like the culture of it is that we're learning with people, we're learning to dwell with people. We're having a kind of patience with people that we feel is necessary. And everyone's a little bit different. Everyone's a little bit different. So like you said, we have this preconceived notion like, oh, we've been there, so we know. And that's not always true. We're just more familiar with it, but we don't know it all.
Well, it is. I have a 12-year-old son, and it's hard for me to realize he is not experiencing life the same way that I experience life.
Dude, that's right there. Like, he's not, they're experiencing it way different.
I was like, I want to handle it, but you're handling it your way. That's your thing. You do your thing,
Yeah. Dang. Yeah.
With that being said, though, I do want to get in from the text line. This one from the host himself, the host that is currently away right now. From Pete Ferguson, phenomenal job, gentlemen. Powerful words. Building community. We all have a responsibility for this. And he has a question. He says, I'm interested in one thing from each of you on what we can do to help build. As Gerald says, Hope Hood.
Oh, that's my jam. What's up, neighbor? Come on. Yeah. Yeah. My mission for Hope is to share as much hope with as many people in as many places as possible. And that it will impact my generation and much, much further beyond. And so it comes back to that notion of you are responsible. You have to own a part of how people's rationale, their reasoning, how they feel, etc. We can't always change the past, but we can do something about it by the way we build narrative with people. So like, I want to make hood good. How do I do that every day? You know, like hood's not a negative notion. It's just a neighbor. It's a community. How do I do that? It starts at home with my kids. It starts when I wake up. What's my mindset when I wake up? Like you were talking about that, dude, I have a process before I put my feet on the ground, like what my mindset is, and genuinely loving people and diving into relationships with them, even though I don't always feel like it. Pete's been with me in my hardest points of my life, you know, in these last few years, and Pete has made my hood good. And he's taken responsibility for that, and I can give that to people. And I tell Pete a lot, Pete, I walk around with your voice in my head. Pete Ferguson here. Pete Ferguson. No, yeah, yeah. Because he's always agreeing and disagreeing with himself. No. What I'm trying to say is that your words are powerful. You know? Yeah, bro. I'm like, Pete, you're like 8 foot. Why did you just giggle on me, bro? You know? But I literally carry his voice around because I go, how did Pete interact? Like, how is he loving scholars? And I watch him and I go, ooh, I need to add that, you know? So yeah. Hope Hood, man. We make our hood good.
Yeah, it's incredible when you watch those people too. Everyday life, you're like, I wonder why they're always the happiest one on a day-to-day basis. So they're always kind of giving.
Can you make Jarrell's Pete Ferguson laugh a soundbite?
We'll have that next Sunday.
No.
Yeah. Still listening. We'll have that soundbite.
Good.
Yeah. But Phil, I'll ask you the same question. You know, how do we build that community we keep talking about?
I'm going to a brand new building next year, and I know that I'm going to Hartley. I'm leaving Saratoga, and that's going to be a big change for me. And I know meeting a new community, and it's something I think building that community, being present is huge. Just being there and being there for those kids. So something I like to do, and I know it's silly. Saratoga was a smaller school; it was only about 230 kids, but I was going to learn every kid's name in that building. So when they came into that building, they were like, "Mr. Maynard, hey Katie, hey John, hey Tim." It was kind of fun to have parents like, do you know every kid? Well, yeah, I want them to know that they know somebody in this building. They already have that relationship built. And then it's always funny, you know, when kids see you out in public in the summer, they're like, why aren't you at school right now? Well, you know, I don't live there.
You don't?
But, it's always a big shocker when you're not in the building as a teacher. But I think that's the big one for me is I every kid that walks through that door should have somebody that they can talk to, somebody that they trust, somebody that's a part for them, somebody that lets them know that they're safe in this building. Yeah,
absolutely. And Gabe, I'll let you wrap up this segment. What's something from the youth side, you know, that you as students can do, whether together or individually, to kind of help bring that community?
Yeah. Just no matter if you don't like them, let people know you're there for them. It's always good to know, like these two guys have said, you have someone to rely on. You have that person that you can go to, and if you had an awful day, just tell them about your day, right? Because I know there's people in school who don't really think they have people they can talk to, and it takes a toll on their mental health. And you don't want to see that happen to anyone, because everyone deserves to be in a good spot mentally. Everyone deserves to be in just a happy spot in their mind. And you can't do that if you don't have someone to talk to.
But I think that scares me as an educator to know that there's kids that still come to school and they don't feel like they have somebody to talk to, because that's something we really need to think of is why we got to make sure that every student in this building feels safe and they have somebody that they can reach out to.
Absolutely. That's why we have the conversations. We'll continue to have them this Sunday. This is Bigger Than the Score. We got Phil, Jarrell, and then of course the guest today, Gabe. No Pete Ferguson. Like I said, we have people filling in, but no worries. We'll keep it rolling here. Ticket Sundays, 402-464-5685. If you want to join in, last second comments. We'll talk to you guys in just a little bit.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
Old School with DP and J.
And Todd Bowles, I'm gonna tell you this, DP. His voice does not match his body type.
That's what I'm saying. He's never I don't know how you can be led by Todd Bowles' voice.
That's a fireable offense anyway.
Like his facial expression is top notch. Then his voice, because it's literally you're there expecting. It's like Mike Tyson.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Join us each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon for Youth Football 101 with Tank Perry of the Nebraska Red Wolves of 7-on-7 football. The future of the sport depends on the foundation set at a young age. Hear those stories and more each Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon here on 93.7 The Ticket.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Do you need motivation to get to the gym on the weekend or even in general? Tune into the Movement Hour each Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Movement Academy owner Robert Kuhlman will host the show as he introduces new ways to stay in shape. The Movement Hour every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal? A dog? A cat? Or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Drinking and driving causes serious harm to friends, family members, and loved ones. In 2021, 65 people were killed in Nebraska by a car crash involving a drunk driver. Do not drink and drive. By drinking less, you can still be here for your loved ones. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
There's that pit in my stomach. I hope that knot gets untangled and untied so that the Royals can be in contention for the playoffs come late August into September. I'm not holding my breath for it, but before I freak out and lose my mind about how bad things are right now, I'm going to choose to look back at last year and remember how bad 56 and 106 felt.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Bigger Than the Score. My name is Harrison Arns on the ones and twos as always. The audio sounds clear. I hope it's good for you guys as well. 402-464-5685. If you guys want to join in, feel free to do so as we're wrapping things up here. Before we get to Fitness Fanatics, we'll take over from 9 to 11. As we're wrapping this thing up here, we've kind of talked a lot about some of the hobbies, and we'll give some more advice as well. But Gabe, the one thing we haven't talked about yet is what do you do when you finally get some off time? When you're not practicing band, when you're not actually pursuing your real interests, what's just a day off, I'm going to relax type of day look like for you?
Yeah, what's off time, Gabe?
If I have off time, it's a real question. But, just going out there and hanging out with friends, just spend, like, if I have an hour of off time from, work to bedtime, I'm just spending that time at home. Maybe get something to eat, obviously, if I have time. But no, like, even when I'm not having off time, it's the downtime that I was spend with my friends, or the downtime that I'm, hanging out with my family, talking with my mom or something like that. And, there's times that I'll just be out there and, I'll have maybe 10 minutes and I just spend those 10 minutes talking to Mahalia, my twin sister. And, it's growing up, Mahalia and I weren't really, we were close on and off, we're twins. So, we're fighting for the attention of our mom, we're fighting for, since we had the same friends growing up too, that made it rough.
Now is Haley in band too?
What's that?
Is she in band
No.
too? Okay.
She'd quit back in 6th grade, but that's okay.
It happens.
Yeah. But growing up, it was definitely hard because she'd want to go over to her friend's house. Oh, I'll go too. And she's like, no, this is me. Like, get your own friends. And I think I really took that over the years. Like, I have lots of friends, and I'm very thankful for that. But she has her friends and we have our friends. I don't think we have any overlapping friends anymore. But if you had told me 5 years ago that, hey, you guys don't turn any friends anymore, I'd laugh in your face.
Yeah. Wow. That's her shout out, by the way. He just gave you that was
yes. Yeah. That's you, Mahalia.
Do you want to give your mom a shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. I love my mom. She has done so much for me.
What's your mom's name?
Kathy. My mom's Kathy. She went to East, and then she went to Bryan Medical School to become a registered nurse. But she was going to Bryan while Mahalia and I were 4 or 5. So she has 2 little twins, and she's a single mom, so she'd take us to our grandma's house around 6 in the morning. She'd take us to school. But those early mornings, she felt super bad because she's not there to take us to school and stuff like that. And of course that time will never get back, but she always made up for that time. Like, if it's taking us out to the movies, taking us out to the park, she's done so much for us in our life that I'm just so very thankful. I love her so much, and the effort that she's put into us and the amount of time she has sacrificed for us. I remember her I forgot what it's called, but it's a big thing when nurses get their pins and their caps and everything. This is time she'll never get back. I threw up that morning. She had no one to watch us, and I go
You're
down.
like, Mom, hold on. I know this day is about you, but I got something.
I go down to the end of her bed, and she's like, "Well, you can make it to the bathroom." I could have made it to the bathroom, and I just stayed at the end of her bed and I just threw up. And
okay.
I felt so bad, like, looking back at it now, because she's never gonna have that time to go back and relive that moment. But it's like, that's the
I promise this day will stick more in her head now.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
those
Come
are the
on.
sacrifices that she makes for us, and
Yeah.
there's probably millions of others, but I'm just so thankful for both of them.
Man,
Your mom's
much
pretty
love,
awesome.
Kathy. That's dope.
Absolutely. And is that everybody in your family that we named? Because you've been crushing this hour. I'm sure they would love, if you gave the full shout out to them.
Okay, so my Aunt Sherry, awesome lady. She was one of the people watching us when we were growing up. My cousin Andrew and his daughter Rosie, awesome cousins. I mean, as awesome as cousins can be, But they're awesome. My whole family, I'm going up to my grandma's this weekend, up in Omaha, Linda. gonna see her, some family like Celeste, Aunt Judy, Jerome, just people like that. Like, just family always matters. Always, checking on your family, see how you're doing, because you don't know how much time you've left with them.
Absolutely.
Like this
it's
guy.
always,
I like this
always incredible hearing from the youth,
Yeah.
picking up on the big picture stuff almost easier than we do at times. But that being said, though, before we wrap things up, we don't have Pete Ferguson, so we don't have to hear about the Cowboys. And this is a sports radio station, and I did hear that Gabe was a Seahawks fan. So we won't dive all the way into the roster and everything in the season schedule, but how are you feeling about the Seahawks this year? Is this a playoff team? Super Bowl?
Not Super Bowl this year, right? So I'm eager, but not that eager. I think they could, get a few playoff games this year. With Pete Carroll being on this year, it's going to be a change, but change is never bad, and that's something you have to learn throughout your life. And I'm not going to say I don't struggle with change, but I do struggle with change. Like, even if not minor things, but like when when people leave and people come in, like, or big things happen, like, you can't let change define your life. And if we're going on another piece of advice, I'd say that my favorite piece of advice I've got is today does not define tomorrow. Today might have been the worst that you've had in a while, but it will not make tomorrow the worst day you're gonna have.
Come on.
I know. He's
You better
dropping them all.
speak. You better
He's dropping it all. I love it.
Man, do you get that from being in band? Because I'm gonna go join band. That's awesome, man. Give me some.
Absolutely. Absolutely killed it today. Wise words. I recommend everybody. You can go back on YouTube, rewatch it, maybe get down a pen and notepad, get some great quotes out of there. But that's going to wrap it up for us. Again, want to shout out Phil Maynard and, of course, Jarrell filling in for Pete Ferguson in his absence. And, of course, Gabe today, the guest, absolutely killed it.
Shout out to Harrison because he's awesome.
Appreciate it.
On the
as
ones
well.
and twos. That's all I know. On the ones and
Yeah.
twos. He's killing it.
Come on.
We'll do it again next week. But before that, Fitness Fanatics up next. Don't go anywhere. Talk to you in a bit.